About 20 seconds and we'll be ready to go.
All right.
Good day, and thank you for tuning in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast. For all of our new listeners and viewers who are tuning in for the very first time, I'm Pastor Pope, and thank you for allowing us to come into your viewing environment. And I am not alone. With me today in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast, is Rebecca Boova, licensed and registered dietitian and nutritionist, our monthly contributor, who is always with us on the first Thursday of every month. And I know that all of you love Becca, so I am delighted as always to have her with us right here in 3D. Becca, would you say hello? We are delighted to have you with us.
Hi everyone, I'm so excited to be here.
Well, as always, it is a pleasure, and we're going to begin by saying to all of our listeners and viewers, we thank you for tuning in from 12:30 p.m. until 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, wherever you are across the U.S. and wherever you are around the globe. We welcome you right here in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast, which is brought to you by Fiji Water, Earth's finest water. You may already know that Fiji water comes from Fiji. However, did you know that it is created by nature? It is untouched by man. It starts as a tropical rainfall which slowly filters through layers of volcanic rock, where the water collects in a natural, sustainable artesian aquifer, where it is bottled right at the source, free from human contact until you unscrew the cap. Fiji Water, Earth's finest water, will be delivered right to your front door when you subscribe for delivery. And you'll save money at FijiWater.com. This is Earth's finest water. And of course, with us today, as always, on the first Thursday of every month, Becca, the dietitian.com, Rebecca Boova, licensed and registered dietitian and nutritionist, to ensure that we are all whole in our body, mind, and spirit. So as always, Becca, thank you for being with us. But Becca, would you share with our listeners and viewers also, you are taking insurance for your clients and you have your own private practice. And as I have told all of our listeners and viewers, Becca is with us the first Thursday of every month because Becca also has a career in addition to her practice. I know all of you have been asking, could we get Becca to come on once a week at least? And I keep responding to all of you saying Becca has a career, a full-time career also, in addition to her practice. But she is accepting insurances now. And Becca, would you just go through those insurances with our listeners and viewers so that they can take advantage of their insurance?
Of course, yes. So I am accepting insurances in the state of Pennsylvania, and that would be Aetna, AmeriHealth, Cigna, Highmark, Blue Cross Blue Shield, Independence Blue Cross, and Medicare. And I am also in the process of getting credentialed with Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield of New Jersey, and I'm still working on the Delaware licensure. So Delaware, I'm coming for you soon.
All right. And that will happen very soon. So I wanted to make certain that our listeners and viewers understand that they can use your insurance to take advantage of having your own dietitian and nutritionist, BeccaTheDietitian.com. And so you can go to our website and you can view all the products that she has, products and services that she has to offer. You can view her blog. You can also go to the media section and click on the date for every interview that Becca has done right here in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast. So Becca, I'm going to now begin by asking you to discuss the topic that you would like to discuss for today, and then we're going to let you give us all of the guidance that we need to be whole in our body, mind, and spirit.
All right, so I figured with Father's Day coming up in a few short weeks, I wanted to take the chance to honor all the dads out there and just men in general. And I wanted to kind of get into men's health because June is actually Men's Health Awareness Month. So I wanted to first start off and give everyone a few statistics because men are actually more likely to smoke, more likely to drink alcohol, make unhealthy and risky choices, and to put off regular checkups and medical care. So that's why it's really important for all the men out there to be aware of this and be aware of the recommendations on how to take back, your life and follow a healthy lifestyle so that you can be around for all your loved ones. So the leading causes of death for men, actually, the majority of them are all avoidable. So the same is true for the general population, but of course for men as well. That would be heart disease, cancer, unintentional injury, stroke, diabetes, etc. All these things are mostly preventable. I mean, there's going to be some genetic or hereditary factors there, but a lot of it is something that you can control through diet, exercise, healthy lifestyle decisions. So I did come up with 6 tips to promote a healthy lifestyle and to kind of reverse the risks associated with those injuries and illnesses. So my first tip would be to either quit smoking or don't ever start. And this doesn't include just smoking cigarettes. It includes all tobacco products or what do they call them, like the Juuls, the inhalant type things.
Yes, yes.
The second thing would be to follow a healthy diet. There's going to be different considerations for younger men versus older men. Younger men are going to need more calories, more protein to support their developing bodies and bones and muscle development, all that kind of stuff. Younger men also should be focusing more on calcium, vitamin D, and iron-rich foods. So calcium and vitamin D are going to come from a lot of the same sources, your fortified milks and dairies. Calcium would be found in tofu, broccoli, lots of other foods. And then vitamin D is going to be actually, if you spend time in the sun, your body's going to naturally be making vitamin D. So that's an easy one. And then as far as iron-rich foods, that would be your animal products. So red meat, poultry, pork, and then things like tofu, beans, spinach, and stuff like that. So we also want to make sure we're eating plenty of fruits and vegetables of all ages, but younger men especially, you want to make sure you're getting all those essential nutrients, eating healthy fats versus unhealthy fats. So for the older men then, your calorie needs are going to be lower than they were in your growing years. And it's important to make sure you're staying on top of your calorie needs and eating the appropriate amount for your body so you can maintain a healthy body weight. We also want to make sure we're getting plenty of fiber, so from foods such as whole grains, fruits, vegetables, beans, and legumes. And then again, older men should be focusing on calcium and vitamin D, but also potassium. So potassium is going to be important for blood pressure control, and that would be in things like bananas, potatoes, tomatoes, oranges, and orange juice. So I did just mention about maintaining a healthy body weight. So men specifically tend to actually carry their weight in their stomach or their abdominal area. And this abdominal fat is actually associated with higher risks of heart disease, higher bad cholesterol levels and triglyceride levels, and then lower good cholesterol levels, So my third point is to maintain a healthy weight. There are a few ways you can kind of assess your risk for, your waist circumference. So if you have a waist that is 37 inches or less, that's going to be a low risk. If your waist is between 37 and 40 inches, you're at moderate risk for those conditions I had mentioned before. And then if your waist circumference is above 40 inches, you are going to be at high risk. I just want to point out these numbers will be different for women, so this specifically applies to men. We'll have to get into women another month. My fourth point is to make sure that you are being active and moving. The American Heart Association recommends that we participate in 150 to 300 minutes of moderate intensity activity a week. So that would be things like walking or light jogging, maybe an aerobics class, things like that, or 75 to 150 minutes of vigorous exercise. When I say vigorous exercise, I mean when you're out of breath, and it's, you can't really talk whenever you're engaging in that activity. So that would be running or high-intensity interval training, rock climbing, things like that where you're really getting breathless. We also want to make sure we're doing some weight-bearing exercises at least twice a week because that's really important to protect your musculoskeletal system as well. The fifth point is to limit alcohol. So men, you're lucky because your daily serving of alcohol is a little bit higher than for women. You can have up to 2 alcoholic beverages a day. And just keep in mind, a serving of alcohol is 1.5 ounces of liquor, 5 ounces of wine, 8 ounces of a malt liquor or something like an IPA where the alcohol content's a little bit higher, and then 12 ounces of a light beer, which would be around 4 to 5% alcohol. My 6th point is to manage your stress. So stress can really do a lot of damage to our bodies. So it's really important to do things like yoga, meditation. For some people, exercise is their form of stress relief. Others, it might be reading a book or even speaking with a therapist. So whatever it takes for you to just, calm your mind, lower your heart rate, and forget about all of life's stressors for just a few minutes a day, it's going to do a lot of good for your health. So those are the 6 points, and they will be posted on the New Life Christian Center Facebook page later today.
So, Becca, I have to tell you, and I'm sure our listeners and viewers are sitting there right now, jaws dropped, because there are some things that you pointed out that I have to tell you were significant for me. And I want to start with the first fact of young versus, I'll use the term mature because I'm in that older category. So I'll say mature.
Excuse me, mature men.
So I'll say mature. But the reality is that there is a difference, and we have to understand that there is a difference, and we need to make certain that we focus on the things that are good for the younger men and also for those of us who are more mature. So one of the things that, Becca, you mentioned and I forget the exact term you used, so please forgive me, but strenuous exercise. So one of the things I've always done as a runner is I thought as long as I was running at a pace that I could talk comfortably while I'm running, that I was not exerting myself past a point that would be damaging for myself as a mature male. But one of the things I heard you say is that you shouldn't be able to talk for more strenuous exercise. So that means we probably need to pick up that pace. Would you say that that's good for us, or would you say that that's not necessarily? I didn't analyze that.
So you do actually bring up a really great point. So every decade that you mature, so your heart rate should only get up to a certain amount. So I believe for whenever you're in your teens or your 20s, your heart rate can get up to about 180 maybe, and don't quote me on these numbers exactly. I would have to look them up to make sure I'm correct. But for every decade, your heart rate should get basically 10 points lower. So teens and 20s maybe up to 180, in your 30s up to 170 is your max, in your 40s up to 160 is your max, and et cetera, et cetera. So as you do mature each decade, you don't want to get your heart rate above a certain amount because it could actually be damaging to you. So I'm glad you brought that point up, I suppose.
No, I learned something from everything that you shared with us. So I just wanted to get a clearer understanding of that. And hopefully our listeners and viewers who are either walking or running and getting as much exercise as possible, because we want everyone to be healthy and well, we'll pick up on these things that you're sharing with us and make certain that we are doing the right thing to really maximize our health and wellness. So thank you for sharing that. And Becca, I'm going to have you walk us through, I know they'll be up on the Facebook later today on the Facebook post, but I just want to have you walk us through some of the things that we should be doing as you gave us these tips today. But before we do that, I just want to make certain that we do a little business for our sponsors. This segment of the broadcast has been brought to you by T-Mobile, America's largest and fastest 5G provider at no extra charge. So if you are not currently a T-Mobile customer, you may call or text on the T-Mobile call or text line at 267-992-1424. We will place you into our queue so that you may become a T-Mobile customer and experience America's largest and fastest 5G provider at no extra charge. Taxes and fees are included in your bill, and if you auto pay by attaching your credit card to your account, you will receive a discount on your monthly bill at T-Mobile, America's largest and fastest 5G provider at no extra charge. And so I want to go back to your second point. Becca, could you share that with our listeners and viewers also so that we can ask questions about that, because although I have some communications from our listeners and viewers, and hang on, we still have half a broadcast, we'll get to those, but I just want to make certain that we get through these points, because these are really important to us, particularly as men, and for all of you who are listening today or viewing today, and all of the women who are tuned in also, who have a man in your life, whether it's a father, whether it's a husband, whether it's a significant other, or whether it is a sibling, encourage them to make certain that they're getting their annual physical exam, and that we're doing preventive maintenance. So Becca, could you take us through that second point also?
Sure. So I'm actually just going to go through the whole list of all 6 again. So number 1, quit smoking. Number 2, follow a healthy diet. Number 3, maintain a healthy weight. Number 4, be active and get moving. Number 5 is to limit alcohol. And then 6 is to manage stress.
Okay. So one more point I'd like to address is the waistline. Okay. So we've always heard that over 40 is a heart attack waiting to happen, but you cleared something up for us today. You actually said 37 is a magic number, because we want to make certain that we're below that. So for those of us who are below a 37, we're doing fine. We need to make certain that we maintain good health by reducing our belly fat, for lack of a better term. Correct, Becca?
Exactly.
Yes. And so we don't want to get to that 40 number, because over 40, we're going to start getting into some health issues. So we just want to
Exactly.
Go ahead.
And yeah, anything over a 37 actually is going to be, you're still going to be at moderate risk between a 37 and a 40. So, if you do find yourself in that range, you might want to consider trying to lose some weight as well.
Okay, so how do you recommend, I know, we talk about this all the time, you can't spot reduce, but how can you recommend that someone reduce belly fat?
So really the best way to lose fat from any area of your body is just to either decrease your calorie intake or increase your output or your exercising.
Okay.
So, but I do want to emphasize that diet is going to be such a key part in anyone's weight loss. So I've heard 80% diet, 20% exercise. I've also heard 90% diet, 10% exercise. But the point is that diet is going to play a very, very large role in weight loss. So you really need to be making sure that you're eating less calories, but making sure that you're maximizing on the nutrients that you're taking in. So we don't want to be eating, donuts and ice cream and cookies and stuff all day, but still staying within our calorie range. We want to make sure that we're eating lean proteins, fruits and vegetables, lots of fiber, and then healthy whole grains as well, because all of those different nutrients provided in the different food groups are going to play a key role in helping your body with it, not only its regular functions, but to lose weight as well.
Well, Becca, we love you, but you just ruined some of the male population's day by taking away the donuts. And but no. Having said that, that's going to be real important. So we've got to make certain that we know our numbers. We've got to make certain that we're getting our annual physicals, men, as I always encourage, and I encourage women also. I encourage everyone to make certain that you're getting your annual physicals so that we know our numbers, we know where we are, we can track our health and wellness, and we can do the things that are necessary to really improve our health, enhance our health and wellness. And Becca mentioned also stress. So before we get into an announcement we have for today, Becca, I really want to focus on that stress for a moment, because stress is a killer. And we need to really manage our stress. So Becca gave us a lot of information that we could use with regard to reducing stress. And, we talked about how diet and exercise is going to be real important. Becca, what can we use from a diet perspective, from a nutritional perspective, to reduce our stress? Because there's got to be some correlation between our stress and our diet. I'm convinced of that.
You're absolutely right. So last month we talked about diet and mental health.
Yes.
So just the same way that, certain activities that you participate in might be, either good or bad for your mental health. So let's say exercising or meditating versus binge drinking or something like that. Obviously some of those things are going to be better for our mental health and our stress levels, and other things are going to be worse for our mental health and stress levels. So the same is true with diet. So we just want to make sure we're eating lots of those healthy fats. So your unsaturated fats, omega-3s, which are found in fatty fish, flax seeds, chia seeds, walnuts, etc., all those types of things. And then as well as nuts, avocados, and your vegetable oils. So healthy fats is going to be really important for the brain, but then also making sure you're getting all the different vitamins and minerals that you need, which are going to be, from all of the food groups. So not only your different types of proteins, but your different colored fruits and vegetables, your healthy whole grains. They all provide so many different nutrients that we need. And there's no way you could take a multivitamin, but the best way to get them is always going to be from your food sources.
Absolutely. So, Becca pointed out meditation, and as everyone knows, I've preached about this in a sermon at New Life Christian Center, and I'm always encouraging people to try to meditate for 30 minutes a day. I know everyone says to me they're not always able to get to 30 minutes, but at least you're in the process of 30 minutes. And the reason is because all of heaven went silent for 30 minutes. The book of Revelation tells us that. So it's important that we turn off our mind from all of the noise, all of the chatter, all of the daily activities. Just try to get to 30 minutes a day of meditation so that we can clear out our mind, so that we can keep our mind, body, and our spirit whole. And so I just want to now take out a moment. Okay, so everyone knows that from May until the beginning of September, I'm in golf attire because we have golf sponsors for the summer. And today's sponsor for this segment of the broadcast is Nike Golf. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that. You can go to Nike.com, type in /golf, and you can see everything that Nike has to offer for those of you like myself who are golfers. But this is the segment where we're going to lead into something else. So I'm going to ask Becca to make our announcement today, because we've talked about this leading up to the month of July. So beginning in the month of July, we are going to have one of our listeners and viewers who's going to be selected to be a new client of BeccaTheDietitian.com, Rebecca Boova, licensed and registered dietitian and nutritionist. So we are going to ask that Becca will make the announcement today, what we're going to be doing for the month of June, and then we're going to select someone who's going to become a client of Rebecca Boova, licensed and registered dietitian and nutritionist. Becca, I will turn that over to you.
All right. So the winner is going to get 6 months of nutrition counseling with yours truly. So we will start off with an initial assessment in the month of July, and then there will be 5 monthly follow-up sessions. So during this time, we're going to be, giving you an individualized plan, whether your goal be weight loss or just to, make your lifestyle a little bit healthier, or if you have a chronic disease that you want to get under control, we can focus on anything. So we're going to give you an individualized plan, and I will also be giving ongoing support. So if you have questions, you can email or text me, and I'll be giving you, I'll be there for you the whole, every step of the way.
And we're going to be tracking your progress until the end of the year. Becca will be tracking you, and we will be monitoring just to make certain that you get the full experience. And then what we're going to do is we're going to have you come on the air and talk about your experience. So I'm excited about this, and I want to thank Becca for putting this together so that we can select one of our clients to become, one of our listeners and viewers to become a client of BeccaTheDietitian.com. So look at the Facebook post. There will be posts daily. There is going to be, listen to this, starting on Monday, there's going to be a key word or phrase that you will need to email me at newlifepastor@comcast.net or text me on the T-Mobile caller text line at 267-992-1424. So that will all be posted. You will need to email or text your contact information and the key word that you heard during the broadcast. That's how we know that you've been tuned in and that you have been listening to the broadcast. But in addition to that, that's going to go on for the entire month of June. And on June 30th, correct me if I'm wrong, Becca, you know, as being more mature, my mind doesn't always...
That's correct.
sometimes fails me. On June 30th, it will be announced who has been selected. And as Becca just described to you, you will have a initial consultation. You will then have a monthly consultation or review with Becca, who is offering support through the whole progress. And we are then going to invite you to come on the air. And I will be sharing with all of you at some point during the month of June, going into July. We're going to also be on RadioFreeNetwork.com. We're also going to be giving you some additional information that I will be making an announcement, because we will be broadcasting on another radio station also, which will also give us access to Alexa. So whatever platform you want to tune in to 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast, from 12:30 p.m. until 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And we're going to be expanding in response to all of your requests. Becca, I need to do this. To all of your requests of expanding the broadcast, but we're only going to expand it for an additional 30 minutes where we'll be playing music from 1 p.m. until 1:30 p.m. We won't be taking additional communications from our listeners and viewers, but there will be some music. So we're expanding the broadcast just to do some additional things to help you through your day as you go about your daily activities and your daily lives and your daily professions right here in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast. So Becca, again, I thank you for doing that. And if you don't mind, I'm going to go through, for these last few minutes of the broadcast, I'm going to address some communications that came in from some of our listeners and viewers. And because you wanted to do men's health, I went back and pulled some of the ones that are addressing men's health. But I do have a question from one of our listeners and viewers who wanted to know, what can we do as men to educate ourselves about a healthier lifestyle? So what can we really do in addition to diet and exercise, diet and nutrition? What can we really do to create a healthier lifestyle? One of the things I suggested, of course, is making certain we're getting our annual physicals so that we know our numbers, so that we know where we are in our health, so that we can monitor our health. Preventive medicine is important. So Becca, any other suggestions you might have?
Absolutely. I completely agree with getting the annual checkup, from your primary care or family doctor. There's also tons of resources on the internet that you can use. So the American Heart Association, the American Diabetes Association, Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics. There's so many websites with great information, but I do just want to throw it out there. Be careful not to just go to any old blog post unless you're sure that they are a credentialed, individual who has the ability to truly speak to this information and make sure that it's evidence-based. So if you go to any website that ends in .gov, that's going to be a reliable source. Or if you know a registered dietitian or a physician that has a blog, they're going to be posting accurate information as well.
Oh, and we happen to know one, BeccaTheDietitian.com.
Exactly.
So interesting statement Becca made, and that is that there's information out there, which means we have to do some research. We can't be lazy about a healthier lifestyle. We have to do some research to make certain that we're up on the information that's available to us. And there was a question about stress and emotional eating, so Becca has addressed that. So Becca, one of our listeners and viewers indicated that her husband was diagnosed with prostate cancer, and aside from the treatments that they are performing, what would you recommend for diet and nutrition?
So I would definitely recommend to stay away from any pro-inflammatory foods. So that would be things like added sugar, processed meats, junk food, basically anything that comes in any sort of packaging where there's been additives added into it to preserve it. Stuff like that I would recommend staying away from, and trying to have a diet that's more anti-inflammatory. So again, your healthy fats, like your olive oil, avocados, nuts and seeds, your healthy whole grains, so wheat bread, brown rice, quinoa, etc., all that type of stuff. And lots of fruits and vegetables, and your lean protein. So as long as you're getting all your nutrients from the different food groups, and that they're going to be more whole food, fresh sources, except for the exception of frozen fruits and veggies, those are okay too. That would be what I would recommend.
Excellent. And for those of us who need to monitor our prostate, meaning we need to make certain we're getting our colonoscopies. So find out from your insurance and your primary care when you should have your colonoscopies. We don't like them, but we have to have them, get them done so that we're up on our preventive health. Preventive